Hey everyone, I'd say good morning, but it's good evening. And so this is, well, it's not as serious. It's more of a pep talk, okay, for you. And I just feel called tonight to put this out there. I kind of felt called last night. And so, when you keep feeling called, if something feels like this, just do it, because it's not going to let you go until you do it. Do it. Um, I had someone write me an email the other night, a lovely woman, and she said that she was gonna, take off in a van, but, she was now worried because I had made that video about, um, how hard it is sometimes to be a solo female traveler. And, yeah, I don't consider it hard. I could just consider it probably more stressful than probably if you were a male solo traveler. Uh, but then I was thinking to myself last night, um, so if anybody, if you have kids or whatever, because what's harder than having kids? If I told you, and people have said, ooh, having kids is hard, um, you know, would you not have kids? It's still kind of scary, but then when you do have them, they're the best things that ever happened to you. Well, hopefully they are. And so, I just don't want people to use because I'm sharing because because I want to share. I didn't realize that, when I first started this, that, people say that I inspire them or whatever. So with that, then it kind of comes a responsibility because I don't want to scare people not to do something, okay? So I don't want to be used as an excuse either not to move forward. And so here's the thing, just like having kids, for me, and I'm telling you, it's for me because it'll be different for everyone, that van life is the hardest thing that I ever loved. Just like raising my daughter by myself, single mom since she was 1. And now, like I said, she turned into an amazing adult, and there's the satisfaction now that I can look back and I gave up a lot of things. Just like when I moved into a van, I got rid of everything. It's hard sometimes to let go of stuff, but now for me it's easy. I have no emotional attachment to anything material. I just don't. I always think I have too much stuff. And then somebody else reached out to me and said that they were going to go live in this community because after I talked about when I was at the where, and with me, Keith and John, that I found this community and that's how it should be. And looking back, honestly, I would work my 9 to 5 and then I would go home and I would, go to the gym, maybe eat something, go to bed, and wake up. And I'm like, this is my life. This is it. This is what it's going to be. And I told you, watching my, family pass away in hospice, I'm like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. It's not what I'm going for. I would rather jump in a van and go and, get myself into stuff than sit on that couch and wither away by myself. And they said, I see, that's what I want, a sense of community. And I tell you, I think that that's what we're missing. We're missing this, like cheering for each other and wanting each other to do good and being that community where we help each other. Like if you don't have something, I'll give it to you if I have it. Or, if you have more than I do, then you'll share it with me. Things like that. So I just want to encourage you to, if you are where I was, and listen, I still did a lot of stuff, but that's still what I did at the end of the night. So I encourage you. Yeah, I'm in a parking lot. I just want, like, if you're waiting for somebody to give you permission or to kind of give you a nudge, maybe this will do it. I don't know. But like I said, I just feel moved to share this, that there is so much more out there and so many great people. And I know I've talked about, the bad ones, but here's the thing, I'm growing as I'm doing this, and I just share with you exactly like how I feel. I can't keep those feelings in because that's just who I am, you know? And, and so I share the good and the bad. And, yeah, sometimes like, bad things, people say get to me. But then, I talk to myself later and I realize to put that in perspective, but we're always growing. We're always growing unless we're not, unless we're just sitting and staying stagnant because we're afraid. And so this is kind of a life coaching thing. Um, what I want you to ask yourself is, what are you afraid of? And usually in that answer is why you're not moving forward, if that's what you want to do. Is it in a relationship? Do you fear being alone? Is it heading off in a van because you fear not having like an attachment, like that security of a home base, or the unknown of what you're, gonna find out there? The fear of quitting a 9 to 5 that's treating you really bad, or any job or whatever that you just feel like you are being, you're withering, you're dying. I know at the last law firm I worked at, that's how I felt. Every day I went in, and it was mostly because of the manager there. The people I really liked, the job not so much, but the one manager made me feel like I was in, all of us, like we were in kindergarten. It was micromanaging, and I felt like I was dying. And so again, my fear after seeing all my family die was not living my life. So that was it. So I'm like, well, I found out what my fear was, that I wanted to go live my life because my family had passed away so young, and I saw them die all in hospice. And like I said, I would look at them and say, I wonder what they wish they would have done. So that was my fear. I was more afraid not to take this chance than I was to stay home in that security bubble that I had. And it has paid off 1,000-fold. I mean, I think sometimes, God, what if I wouldn't have taken that chance? What would have happened? I would still be doing what I was doing. And look at how much my world has opened up. Look at, I have all you. I have over 22,000 friends. And I want to tell you too, like, I am never like really embarrassed to, if I say something wrong, or if I, share too much or whatever, before, I was starting to get bogged down about all the outside stuff. And I really, truly, every time have to keep coming back to reminding myself, this isn't about the van. And I said this lots of times. It's not about the van, okay? My channel is about the girl in the van. I guess the woman. 57, I guess I can call myself a woman. But I still feel like a girl. And I feel like I get to now, like I said, I put that time in towards my daughter, and she's turned out to be so amazing. And now I feel like I can go have my time. And, I know somebody, what's so, I think it's so great when somebody writes like a negative comment and some of you guys jump in and it's like, well, yeah, because you can, or, whatever. It's like, you're defending me. And I'm like, yeah. And that's just what I did. Somebody said, oh, I can't understand. They made like 3 negative comments on the Cooking with Keith, because they were talking about our tattoos, like, why would somebody get writing? Well, I tell you, for me, it's very personal. They all mean something to me, and I plan on getting more. And guess what? I have the freedom to do that. And that's what it is. I feel free. Before, I tell you what, when I worked at the law firm, you couldn't have tattoos. And if you did, I mean, you would have to cover them up. Even if it was like 120 degrees out, you would have to wear a sweater because they didn't want you to have tattoos. And I'm an artist, and that's what these are for me. And they represent, like, they're like scars, you know? They tell a story at certain times in my life of things that I want to be reminded of, good or bad, you know, like lessons I've learned or good things or just reminders. And so, I don't know. I couldn't go to bed tonight not sharing this because, like I said, I don't know who it's going to help. I don't know if it's going to help anybody. But if it does, I just want you to know, first ask yourself, what do you fear? What's your fear? And then once you answer that, like, is it afraid of being alone, afraid of whatever, then, you know, ask yourself, like, I mean, is that true? Are you really afraid of that? Or is it just something that we've created in our mind? Because a lot of times we can really create things that hold no truth or no value. We've just talked ourselves into that, or we've talked ourselves into that because it's an excuse not to move forward. So yeah, so I think that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, about fear and community. And, you know, and for me it was van life. It doesn't have to be that for you. It's whatever you need to break out of, whatever fear in yourself that you need to shatter that illusion, because fear is an illusion. It's not real. Like, there's real fear, like that fight or flight. You know, like if a bear is chasing you, you have fear. That's why we have it. But, you know, and there's still, like, you know, you always have to be aware. You know, I mean, you have to be prepared. You know, there are things that you have to do, don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is that, have you convinced yourself so you can stay in the security of being where you are, so you don't have to find out what it's like going through that fear? And again, I'll use, you know, having kids. It's scary having kids. you're responsible for, remember you in high school, and now you are responsible for a baby, and to get it to adulthood. Are you kidding me? Some of you people would look back and be like, what? But look at you, did it. You did it, and you can do it. And that's exactly what this is. It's like if somebody tells you it's hard, but it's the best decision that you had ever made, that's what I'd say. I just want you to, know the freedom that I know. That's it. I want you to know the freedom that I know. And I was watching Valerie Bertinelli. She was on TikTok, and she was with someone who I just found out now treated her awful. Texted somebody that she was fat and lazy. I mean, just awful. Unless I've been in relationships, not saying that to me, but saying bad things. I've shared that before. She said somebody asked her, why do you tolerate the intolerable? You're worth a lot more than that. You don't need to. And a lot of times it's fear holding you back because you've convinced yourself that you're not good enough. But you are. So, I just wanted to tell you that. So good, now I can go to sleep because it was on my heart all last night, all the day. And so now I just had to get it out there. So, I'm going to go watch the Pamela Anderson documentary on Netflix and then go to bed. So, you know what to do. Go out and make an adventure, no matter how big or how small. You do not have to sell everything and move into a van. I did that. That was my way of breaking out of my fear. You have to figure out what your fear is and what gets you out of there. And again, it wasn't the van, it was the girl doing that. It's about the girl. It's not about the van. It's about the journey. Good and bad, up and down. I'm just sharing it. And go call someone you love. And as Joy says, you know, tell them that you love them. I miss Joy. Hi, Mom. I love you. Mwah. I see you soon. Pam called me yesterday. Told her I'd be back in 6 weeks and I'll take her out. She was asking when I was going to be back because she hasn't been out since I've been home. So, and yeah, the biggest part of all, don't you dare forget your magic. Because if you remember that you're magic, then I guess all that point is moot, right? You wouldn't fear leaving that person. You wouldn't fear leaving that job. You wouldn't fear getting in a van and traveling cross country. Because you know you're magic and everything's always going to work out. So there you go. Okay? Okay. And Chuck says hi. I just think it's so funny. You guys are like, somebody just wrote a comment. Yeah, send Chuck after her. Yeah. I love how you guys like reference Chuck all the time. Huh, Chuck? Yep, it's me and you, bud. Okay? Get yourself a Chuck. All right. I will see you in the next one. Bye.